This girl wins right after this. Welcome to it indeed. Of course, I'm sitting here with the person whose name becomes synonymous with girl, young women, youth empowerment. And she needs no long introductions. And I'm talking about none other than Miss Tabisa.
Hello.
Welcome to it. Welcome to Indazakaya, man.
Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure to come and sit down with you and talk. One thing that I know about you is that if I can just let you go, you can go and talk. You're a youth pastor. You are many things. But when we say this girl wins, it just changes the ball game altogether. What is the very thing that actually informs the formation of TGW?
Thank you so much, Joe. You are right. This girl wins is I think my life and blood currently. It's something that really just wakes me up in the middle of the night and I'm like, oh, what more can we do for the girl child? This girl wins. It's an empowerment organization for adolescent girls. So our main focus area is adolescent girls. So we're not for any girl or every girl, but we specifically target the teenagers as formerly known. And we are all about empowering this girl child. Yes. We're about capacitating her to really just unmask and achieve greatness. We're all about educating her on, the ways in which to live life so that she actually wins. So this girl wins was really informed by my own way in Akulangai. Growing up, I grew up in a township. And it was really just a buzzing township. There was everything happening in the township. And somewhere along the line, I began to realize that, okay, the way that we're living as the girls in that era, it differs. There are girls who are doing what they like, they come home when they like, and the results show, There were girls who were continuing with education, there were girls who were dropping out of school, there were girls who were falling pregnant. And I thought to myself, I have been privileged to be surrounded by women who made sure that I was mentored into becoming a girl who was just different from the rest. Then I thought to myself, then it's important to create a platform to raise girls who will also win, because someone did that for me.
You are not old. That's the thing. You are, but your passion, because when I look at you, and you can correct me, when I look at you and your background, you have had the support. You could have just chosen any career and just go and get and be an achiever and just come back and show off. Why bother?
Sure, and you're 100% right. Why bother? It's because I know that all of us need someone sometimes to just push them into the right direction. So I actually figured, what would have become of me if I didn't have that push? I can't be sure that my life would have turned out the way it has had I not had those big sisters at church. That person, La Sisi, who was mentoring me, my mom, my parents, my pastors. I couldn't be sure that I would have held it together on my own. So I then knew that someone they deserve another woman. They deserve a big sister to be able to pull them up, because the reality is, girls are finding themselves living in very challenging homesteads. Some of them are growing.
Now.
Yes, people are growing up without parents. Even when parents are there isn't a clear support structure. What's actually going on with you? Or omnyumzali is half the time intoxicated and they have no interest, in the development of the girl child. So I thought to myself, they need it, because I know it made a difference. Having someone next to me made all the difference.
And I'm glad that you've already gotten into it, but I want us to also peel it off some more, because you would hear that if the family support structure is not conducive, then you just as good as done for if you are a child growing in that kind of a family. How possible is it that a girl child that comes from a family that is totally, and I'm going to take the worst case scenario, that is totally not having any pillars of support, like a supportive parent, whether they are there or not, but just this, how possible is it that that person can actually be salvaged and actually be pointed in the right direction?
It is 100% possible. Because I think what we teach our girls is the notion, Yoba, it's up to you. You can't keep giving the excuse of ekaya akho right, I don't have a support system, when you have external support systems, because there's always someone. If it's not your own parent, there's a guardian, there's a teacher, there's a pastor, there's someone, someone who can instill the right disciplines and give you the tools to be able to make or create the life that you want to live. So it is 100% possible, because you can have a child growing up, in a family where utanti uyashusha, umama uyashusha ngapha, and they make nothing of their lives, they follow suit. But you can have another girl growing up in the exact same environment, but she says to herself, the story will change with me. I will make sure that I don't follow in the same footsteps. I'm going to make sure that I change the narrative in my home. I'm going to be the first one to be educated. I'm going to be the first one to be sober, and you make the right decisions. So it's all up to you, and that's what we do at this Girl Wins. We give every girl the tools to be able to make independent, sober decisions, so that she no longer blames her background, she no longer blames her parents, she no longer blames anyone who did anything to her, but she takes the power back and says, this life of mine, I'm going to make it work. I will win regardless of how I started, because the end, she has got every means to make the end work in her favor, even if it did not start in her favor.
All right. But then there are those practical challenges, impediments. The girl child has more needs which are material, more than just psychological, but also material. What is your approach to dealing with some of those? Are you having those kinds of things that you have to deal with?
You're definitely right. Girls have got, we're looking at the holistic development of the girl child, and girls have got, physical needs. The first thing is, some girls growing up in families where they aren't catered for when it's the time of the month. There is menstruation this side, and there is no way to actually cater for this. So we don't sit and say, okay, we're going to look at the spiritual and the mental and the psychological side. We get up and we put resources together to make sure that that girl is able to be covered. We provide what we can provide, so that the girl child is able to to work and to deal
and navigate.
Yes, and to navigate. And sometimes we find that some of our girls have got challenges at school, they've got academic challenges, and we come on board, we basically solicit help from outside. Sometimes it's not us who can provide the solution that's physical, but there are always partners, there are always people on the other hand that we can pull in to address the need, the physical need. And I think through partnerships and through collaborations, we are able to actually assist the girl child in every way possible. If it's not from our resources, we pull resources from the public, from anybody who actually has the answer that the girl needs.
And obviously that's where now the whole concept of unity is power, because
exactly.
As Black people, we say that the child is actually the child of the village and not a particular family. And having said that, there is then this thing that I actually am interested in. As you are speaking, I'm actually just seeing numbers sprouting. I'm seeing like popcorns everywhere. And I'm thinking, what kind of numbers are you dealing with? Do you have some kind of a tentative figure of the number of young people that are currently benefiting from the programs that you're doing?
In our own program, we've got about 150 registered members of the organization, but our impact, it goes beyond that, because we work with schools. So when we go to a school, we are given girls, teachers ask, take them, do what you can with these girls, because really the teachers also need all these interventions from outside, because they're doing what they can, but they always appreciate when the likes of TGW comes on board, to really just perpetuate the message of empowerment.
Yes.
So when we're dealing with schools, I think at a school at a time, we get anything between 300 to 500 girls. A month, we make sure every single month we do a school visit. So you can do the math. So we practically, if we do 2 schools, that means we reach over 1,000 girls in a month. But sometimes it's 1 school a month. So we're looking at about 500 girls that we reach depending on the magnitude of the school as well. But our reach is really, it's growing because we are trying to make sure that we are consistent with 1 school visit every single month.
And I'm thinking now about, the kind of intervention programs that you have, because I have responsibility when you're talking about we visiting schools, that's just one part of the work that you do. All by itself, it sounds hectic.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that there are other intervention programs do you have within your documents or your establishing, instruments that we have this that is dealing with school girls, and we have this and all of that. What kind of interventions do you have specifically?
Sure. Yes, so we've got the leg that deals with school. We basically call it our school program. Then I think our big focus is the mentorship program where the girls enroll, because we basically streamline it. We take a certain number of girls that we can manage, and that's, I think, where we get the most impact done.
Definitely, yeah.
Because there we know who it is that we're dealing with. We have conversations with her. We pick up the phone and we check, are you doing well? How's the situation at home? Are you doing well academically? So the mentorship program is where the greatest impact is. Right. But besides that, we do interventions where we partner with, say, like churches, and we do school, what do we call these, career exhibitions. It's one of our favorite programs as well, where we do career expos in partnership with institutions, Nelson Mandela University and the University of Fort Hare coming on board, empowering our girls. So we have that education leg, and we basically do like a community-based drive as well, where we go and we do community cleanups, where we do hospital visits, pediatric ward visits with the girls. And so it's basically like this holistic program where we're dealing with academics, we're dealing with social issues, and so forth. So the legs are quite vast, and hence the reach is also very diverse.
It's very interesting. More than half the times when you're talking about intervention, immediately the mind naturally goes to, what are they going to receive? Like, give me. So, free things, being taken care of. And this that you're talking about, that we go and do cleanups and whatnot, because that is actually the part of empowerment and development that normally when we think about development empowerment, we don't think about social responsibility, plowing back and actually letting others grow for your own growth. Is it something that became natural, or were you intentional about it? And how do they receive it? I mean, I'm thinking that they're coming there, kids, and like, what are we receiving? And then you say, we are going to serve others. How does that get received?
Actually very well. I think our girls, we're dealing with girls who are very open, I think, to any form of empowerment and development. So when we come on board and we say, you know what, we actually explain the benefit. If we're going to do a community engagement, this is why this is important. You're part of a community. Your actions must impact your community positively. So here's an opportunity to go serve. Here's an opportunity to be part of the solutions. So because we want to make sure that we're not raising girls who are, like you're saying, give me, what's in it for me, what's in it for me. If you're going to win, part of your winning strategy is making a difference. So yes, now you can't, Mhlambi, you don't have the platform to speak to thousands and make a difference, but you can make a difference by providing, a clean and safe environment where you are. You're making a difference in your community. You're making a difference to kids who need you, that human touch, that smile, it's making a difference. And from there it grows, because if you can be faithful with the little things, faithful with picking up papers, faithful with going to a hospital, faithful with visiting a library and looking at books and really empowering your mind in the smallest of ways, you'll be faithful when you have big platforms. So we want them to win in the big ways and the small ways.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that there must be some kind of a way in which you detect the effect, because it's not only to actually get them involved in serving others, but the idea is to actually, as you say, create an impact to themselves. What kind of feedback, if any, are you getting from the girls, about these, what I'd call the outreach programs that they actually have to be a part of?
It's the girls are really, they appreciate the opportunity to serve, because some of them are like, we want to do things, but we just don't know where to start, because sometimes we don't know if I go and pick up a small piece of paper, if it's going to make any difference. But when we are a group, then that collaboration, that effort of a group, it feels like this is impactful. So the girls appreciate it, because more than anything else, we are not only working at the practical things, but we're working on the mindset. Yeah, but we're working on the mindset that says, serve, give, open yourself up to more than what you know. Your life is basically, you come home from school, you close yourself in, but open yourself up to a life you don't know, the life of service. And the girls appreciate it, because it grows from ukuseva nati. They go serve in schools, they serve in external boards and organizations, and who knows, tomorrow we'll have people who serve in diverse, national structures, only because it started from TGW.
You are talking about this, and I'm thinking, you also have 24 hours in a day. You don't have the 25th hour. And I know that you are heavily involved in the program at ARC Christian Center as a youth pastor, as a music minister, and a lot of other leadership roles in there. And then there comes this. And I'm sure that you are doing something else that is career related.
Yeah.
How do you deal with all of that?
Yeah, I think that when you do things that you love, Pucho, yes. I've realized this with me, because as you say, my plate is really kind of full.
It's full.
But it's not full to a point where I'm drowning, help me. Because I think I have the ability to take off what I feel like,
it's a bit too much.
can be outsourced. The things that I am directly involved in are things that I make time for, are things that I'm very passionate about. Believe you me, I don't get involved if I'm not passionate about it, because I know me, I'll get bored, I'll be frustrated, and I'll probably frustrate the people I'm with.
Others as well.
Yeah.
Yes,
so if I'm involved in it, it's got a place in my heart. And I know when something is in your heart, you make time for it. I've grown to know. I don't have time. Believe you me, when it's in your heart, you make the time for it. And so I am privileged to work on projects that are close to my heart, whether be it ministry. And I believe this is ministry on its own. So I really...
In fact, I think it's a very practical ministry.
Yeah, it's ministry. So I make time for it, and I'm very passionate about it. So it drives me, it pushes me. Yes, I get tired like everybody else, but on the times when I am tired, I remember why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I get the jump, I get the push, and I continue. And I'm very fortunate as well to have a team of people I work with.
Oh, yes.
I've raised and I have made sure that I impart and I impact a couple of girls around me, young men as well, so that in times when I can't reach, in fact, sometimes even when I can reach, I give someone a platform to say, reach that one, take that one for us. Because I know that I won't be around forever doing what I'm doing. So someone has got to understand the heartbeat of every ministry I'm in, so that in my absence, they are able to continue seamlessly. So I am conscious about raising others after me. And I think I'm doing a fairly good job, because when I look around me, I'm always surrounded by young people. They're learning. They keep saying, give us an opportunity.
And they're actually excited. I've seen that the excitement. They just like working. They just want to work.
Yep.
And that's got to be something very interesting for you, especially also to see that what you are doing is actually beginning to yield fruits in the instant, in the now, in the immediate, where you're beginning to see young people, lighting up at the opportunity of serving others. And you talked about, and I think this is very important, someone might be at home there and wondering, you talked about those that actually enroll into and become part
Yeah.
of TGW for a period of time, and importantly so, because you can't deal with issues of development in a hit and run.
Yeah.
You cannot make an event that will change someone's life. If it works, it's 1 in a million chances. But you are dealing with a person progressively.
Yeah.
And so you talked about a specific number of people that you have. What are the necessities, or prerequisites for someone to say, hey, I actually want my girl to be a part of this program because it's quite a fantastic program. What are the prerequisites for someone to enroll their child?
Really be a girl, be between the ages of 13 up until about 22, because we do have a leg that deals with our students that are in varsities, because abanye babo, we feel like we still need to do a little bit of more work, so we do have the young woman sort of network.
Yes.
So if you're a girl between the ages of 12, 13 up until 22, 23 max, then you qualify. If you've got a heart, if the girl has got a heart to say, I'm doing things okay, but I know I can be more. I can do better. You qualify. Okanye ka umzali ebona umntana wakhe uba, hey, I can already see, abazali sometimes umntu, hey, Tabi, she's 11, but I can see she's starting to, open her eyes and ears to influences. Then we say, bring her in, because a stitch in time saves 9. So any girl, there is no merit of if you are coming from this type of family or if you're in this type of school. We work with girls, period. Because we believe there's something that is common amongst us. It's all the drive to want to make a success of your life. So
I'll tell you why I'm asking this question. I'm asking this question because then if you say you're dealing with a program of sorts, it means that there's some kind of outcome-based plans that you're actually, having. And so you have a person coming in, say, at January the 1st, to saying, I'm interested to be part of this program. And then somewhere in March, someone comes in. Somewhere in June. How do you deal with that kind of a thing? That's number one. But the second one is there any kind of registration involved here too? Does it involve some kind of a contribution? Because one of the things that I know is, and I wanted to ask you, but I wanted to shelve it for later. This sounds like a very resource-intensive exercise that you're engaged in. Yeah. How do you deal with the fact that you have the whole year and then someone would want to be joining on the wagon later? Do you say, well, you can observe what's happening, but you'll officially be enrolled in the program? How do you deal with that?
Sure. We actually do take girls throughout the year, especially in the first semester or the first half of the year, because we really feel like we don't want to make them wait until the next year. If Umdu comes in April, then the wait would be a little bit too long. So our registration is open, but if you come in on the second half of the year, we kind of tell you what we've covered for the first part of the year, which of course you'll have a comprehensive then, intake of it only the following year, but we still want to bring you in because we don't want to lose. If we've got a child who's interested, because we know kids are interested in Goku, so we want to retain them. But of course, we share with the parents or with the girl the program. We've got an actually outlined program of what we've covered between January and June, and so what you will only cover from whenever you jump on in the wagon. So the registration is always open, because we really don't want to lose anyone. But the other part of the question, the resources, it's so true, we are a NPO, so we are a non-profit organization. We make no income from the organization whatsoever, and we are really driven by donations. We are driven by donations from the people who run the organization, myself and my team, and donations from the people who believe in the vision. And up till this far, we have not had a lack. When there is a responsibility that needs more galvanizing of resources, we simply reach out to the public. Sometimes we do ticketing in order to, if we've got a project, to raise the funds for that project. But otherwise, we really make do with what we have.
Let's put it out there. Let's put it out nice and clean. You're saying there is no need for someone to have money to join in order to become part of TGW?
Not at all. There is no registration fee, no membership fee.
Oh, yeah.
You come in. What we want is, do you desire to make lasting and significant changes in your life? If the answer is yes, then you are the person we're looking for.
All right. And then there's a question of, on the main, you are dealing with minors up until a certain age, they become majors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, there are issues of majority in terms of the Age of Majority Act. So things like the child wants to do this or that, there is a parental consent.
Yep.
How do you deal with those? Because here's one of the things, the reason why I'm asking this is because a lot of these young people, I found that they were in the church, in the local assembly when this whole thing started and everything. And the reality of the churches that we're in today is not every young person has their parent in that church. Others having the parents who are not even going to church for that matter. And there are quite a lot of struggles sometimes when you try to bring this kind of a program and parents do not understand, for lack of understanding or maybe just for lack of interest. And how do you deal with those issues?
Sure. Let me start with this point. It started in the church, but it's now outside of the church walls. The church is truly just one of the pillars and the support structures.
Which is actually what it was supposed to have been in the first place. The church is supposed to be a springboard for all of these things, which is really awesome. And for that, I will always really salute Umfundisi Mohammed. They're doing a sterling job, and you being by their side and actually going out and detouring this particular way. The four walls of the church, of the building,
opened.
They were never going to be able to contain this kind of a thing that you're talking about. I'm sorry, I had to interject there.
Of course. And yes, parents are critical. They are one of the legs. In a school setup. And even with TGW, parents are an integral part. As a result, when the girls join, we ask for parental, consent. We ask for the parents' contact numbers, because should something happen and the kid is in our care, we want to know, where do we take them? Who do we bring on board should, we need involvement? So parents are always involved. From time to time, we actually contact some of the parents and we actually are like, your child is doing extremely well. Did you notice when she came in, that we observed A, B, and C, she could not utter a word. Some people come in and they sit in a corner. It feels like this is a threat to them. They're not sure what's happening. They're not sure if it's going to be a safe space.
They will be accepted.
Yes, Omnia has got just challenges that they are not sure if they're going to be entertained in this type of platform. And we observe and we watch, and it always gives us pleasure to pick up the call and tell the parent, we are seeing improvement. Are you seeing improvement on your side? And when the parent can attest to the work and the impact of the work, then we know sipasil, because ababantwana, we are not grooming them for ourselves, but we're grooming them for their families, their communities, and ultimately the nation. So the first person that must see the change is the parent that they are living in, because it doesn't help the child being a darling at TGW. Afike at home, they have got issues of anger, they don't listen to the parents. We want that feedback, so that even if they are prim and proper, we're able to actually find a way to get to the actual big, deep issues that they conceal, because they want us to be able to say, you are right, but we know the parents said, now. Then we're like, okay, let's actually work with that. So parents are critical.
It's an ongoing thing. Ongoing thing. Now, I cannot let you go before you get this out for me. When you started at particular level, literally, and I'm actually blessed to have been there when you started. So you started really at that lower stage, and the next year it grew bigger and better. The next time it grew bigger and better. The next time it grew bigger and better. And I've always said, and this is a fact, the evidence of anything that lives is growth. TGW has been growing like an abnormal specimen. And this year in particular, for me, you've been bringing in talent, you've been bringing people of influence, people of high social stature, and recently, one of your annual dues you bring not only Miss South Africa, former Miss South Africa, but Miss World, Miss Universe. How, I have to ask this question. How did you even think of the you could have brought like Miss Eastern Cape, Miss Zola something, and you had to go there for. How did you even think about it? Was that easy?
Definitely not easy, but I think it's the mentality or the can-do attitude that I live my life with.
Jeez, you have put your money where your mouth is, girl.
Yeah, if it's a person, if they can be approached, then let's do it. You know, the answer can be yes or no, but the reason why we had to gun for one of the top girls in our country was because I wanted the girls to know that what she achieved is possible. And not reading it from a magazine or watching a TV interview, seeing her in person, especially because she happens to come from our province. Yes. Having Miss Universe here was a jaw-dropping moment where girls were able to say, if she could, you know, grow up in streets that are similar to ours. In fact, probably in the West Coast, in the Bundus.
Yes.
But she could make it to the highest places in the nation, in the world, to not even nation, then so can you. So I basically, when I wrote to her, I told her, this is what your life means to a girl who's observing you. Please come and open their eyes to see what you stand for. Come and represent what you stand for by physically, and charge them. You know, charge them, tell them it's possible. So that tell them it's possible. And believe you me, when she came along with other phenomenal speakers that we had, the girls, I could tell, in fact, I could tell even building up to the day, people could not believe it. Parents, my own parents whom I love.
I think people were skeptical.
Yeah, my own parents whom I love were saying, Tabi, I hope you are not, is that the word catfishing?
Yes.
Using someone's face and brand. And we're like...
And that was actually a very huge one, because people have actually done that with, you know, people here, not up there. And you had to go for Miss Universe.
Yeah. And I actually laughed at it, but then I thought to myself, this is why we do what we do, so that in a small town, in a under, you know, developed province, you can have someone of her caliber to show you. Let's get rid of small-mindedness. Let's get rid of this thing of thinking it can't happen for us. It can. It can happen for you. And when I stood up there that day, I think when she came on, I literally started crying before I could say anything, because I said, it can happen. Don't ever tell me it cannot happen. You who's at home, if you're sitting here, it can happen. That spans across anything. Anything that you want to do, anything that you want to attempt, it can happen. So Uzozi brought on a different level. She brought on a different anointing. And we believe for us, she was opening doors, you know, opening our scope. We believe that the same anointing that rests upon her, she was able to, you know, just to leave it in our own environment. We have no doubt that we are going to grow in leaps and bounds after 2023 festival. We have no doubt that we are going into other provinces next year.
Oh, yeah.
We have no doubt that one day we are going to be an international organization, because we now know all things are possible.
Well, there you heard it for the first time on Let's Look at It once again, right here on Focus Media. They are going international. And right now I can tell you, I have absolutely no reason to doubt what you're saying, because over the years I know she is actually the kind of person that puts the money where the mouth is.
Yeah.
Tabi, how do people get the hold of you, people who are interested in your program? Because it's a number of people that may be interested in your program. The people that you know, want to actually, you know, get their children involved in it, or children that actually want to come into the program, but also people that may say, Tabzi, how do we get, because I believe that is very, very important. How do we get involved in the program and make sure that we become the wind beneath your wings? I have reason to believe that that is an awesome thing that actually happen. How will people get the hold of you?
Sure. We are on various, or basically kind of all social media platforms.
Oh,
We are on
right.
TikTok as This Girl Wins. We are on Instagram as This Girl Wins. We are on Facebook as This Girl Wins. We've got an email, which I will gladly leave with you, thisgirlwins1@gmail.com. We have got contact numbers that we put up on our social media pages that we can also, share with your listeners and viewers. So it is possible. We are within reach. People can access us from any of those social media platforms. We also operate from King Williamstown, headquarters in King Williamstown. So if you want to drive down to King and meet with us, we are more than willing and open to engaging with people who want to know exactly what we do and who want to really see the impact of the work that we do. And if you want to be a partner, feel free. You can contact us and see how to partner with us. And if you want to get involved in terms of being one of the peers, one of the mentors, we are always looking for people to come on board and to really just babambisane nathi into spreading the work. So you can contact us, become a peer, become a mentor. There is room for more women who can come on board and teach others their own winning strategies.
Awesome. Thank you ever so much, Tabisa. You are such a power to be reckoned with. A force to be reckoned with. Thank you ever so much for gracing us on Let's Look at It Once Again. I'm sure this is not the first and the last time that you'll be on this particular show. Thank you ever so much. God bless you.
Thank you for having me.
Alrighty. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Here is an opportunity to see things happening unfold right in front of your eyes in this very South Africa, in this very Eastern Cape, in this Buffalo City. That's where things are happening, and we are going, international, as she has said. So remember to do you, be you, and be the best that you can be. No excuses. And every other person that is interested in knowing how to put together such kind of strategies and partner with them, please do so. The contacts are on the screen. For now, God richly bless you.